The Islas de Rosario are a series of roughly 30 islands located about an hour's sail northwest of the old Spanish port city of Cartagena de Indias. They are a beautiful tropical paradise, with their bleached white beaches, brilliant blue crystal lakes, and plentiful fauna. Hundreds of day trippers from Cartagena, both tourists and locals, visit La Playa Blanca all year. However, a little further out into the Caribbean Sea sits an island whose way of life has essentially stayed unchanged for hundreds of years. La Isla Grande is home to approximately 800 islanders who survive mostly via fishing and farming and are cut off from the modern world. With no running water or electricity, daily life still revolves around when the sun rises and sets. However, this idol piqued the interest of one vacationer, who built a palace, which is now abandoned. That would be Pablo Escobar, the famed king of cocaine and the original El Patron. A spectacular complex of luxury buildings sits on the far edge of the island, concealed and secluded between the tropical jungle and the Caribbean Sea. The deterioration of the structures parallels man's demise. At his peak, Pablo Escobar was responsible for over 80% of the world's cocaine supply. He was the leader of the metal and drug gang, which smuggled more than 15 tons of cocaine into the United States every day. His brother Roberto Escobar estimated that they were spending around $1,000 per month only on rubber bands to wrap around the never-ending heaps of money. His policy for smuggling cocaine into the United States was plata o plomo, which translates as silver or lead. That is, accept the bribe money or face the gunshots. By 1989, he was reported to be worth $30 billion, and Forbes magazine named him one of the world's 10 wealthiest men. And Escobar was as cruel as he was wealthy, fighting a murderous drug war from his stronghold fortress in Medellin against the rival cartel of Cali, the Colombian government, and the CIA. Escobar's life was replete with excess, as one would expect from one of the world's richest men. He possessed 15 planes and 6 helicopters, in addition to a plethora of expensive cars. The Hacienda Nápoles, his magnificent residence in Puerto Tiunfo, included his own zoo of rhinoceros, giraffes, elephants, and a dinosaur park created from authentic prehistoric bones. He backed his favorite football team, Atlético Nacional, to the point where they became the first Colombian team to win the Copa Libertadores, South America's club championship. According to the ESPN 30 for 30 documentary, the two Escobars, corruption and bribery ruled Colombian soccer, and many match officials were allegedly bought off in the process. Escobar's ideas for his party mansion on La Isla Grande were no less extravagant. He commissioned the construction of a massive complex that included a mansion, waterfront apartments, a palm court centered around an immense swimming pool, and a helicopter landing pad. No effort was wasted in providing over 300 rooms for guests and partygoers, right down to the gold shower heads in the bathrooms. Escobar's playground resembled a strip from Miami's South Beach during its height in the 1980s. You must find a special boat from Cartagena to travel to the island, which is only a few kilometers long. The island is not located in Panama. It is located off the coast of Colombia on the Islas de Rosario. The villa's location is cloaked in secret. Try looking on the internet and you won't find anything. Arriving on the island and asking around is your best bet. That's exactly how Pablo would have liked it. If you can find someone, the quickest way is by speedboat. You'll spot a glimpse of white concrete through the thick tropical undergrowth after hours of hiking through the Caribbean bush, first by canoe through tight mangrove swamps, then on bicycles with long-gone suspension, and lastly by foot. The forest floor gave way to an ancient ornately tiled pathway leading into Escobar's palace. As you approach through the Barren Gate, a 30-foot luxury speedboat lies on its side, overgrown with tropical flowers. The huge structure was already being reclaimed by nature, like some kind of coke-fueled Xanadu. A family of enormous wild pigs had taken up residence in the once luxurious grounds. The main home had been furnished with white tile and marble, with the broken walls still displaying the 1980s color schemes of pastel blue and coral pinks. The foyer opens to a sprawling courtyard shaded by pom-poms and overlooking the Caribbean Sea. The court was dominated by a large, well-drained pool. Although the last swimmers had long since left, there were still indications of recent human activity. Clothes had been hung to dry along the pool's chipped blue edge. Across the pool, from another dilapidated mansion, a half-dozen guys emerged into the sunlight, silent, clutching rusted machetes. And for good reason, stepping foot anywhere near this location in the late 1980s or early 1990s would have resulted in your death on the spot. Escobar had an army of merciless bodyguards, led by Popeye John Jiro Velasquez, who boasted of murdering 300 individuals and planning the killings of over 3,000 more, including his own wife. Colombians have a tense relationship with Pablo Escobar, which is complicated. His brutal criminal conduct has a long history of being well documented. His image as Robin Hood among Colombia's working class, on the other hand, was meticulously nurtured. He constructed high-quality soccer fields in the barrios and created youth teams and leagues for the local kids. The street vendors of Cartagenas Los Palencores sell t-shirts with the visage of El Patron, as well as replica jerseys of the Colombian hero and Real Madrid player James Rodriguez, who is now on loan from the club. It's difficult to tell how much of Escobar was a genuine benefactor for Colombia's working masses, as opposed to the mythical figure he cultivated around himself. His public funeral, on the other hand, resembled the departure of a popular king, rather than that of a mass murderer. However, when it came time for him to compete for public office, his popularity among the working class served him well. Jess and other islanders on Isla Grande were unable to provide any information on whether El Patron had done anything for them. The overt friendliness of the residents of Orica, as well as the irony of their island home, struck me as unusual and intriguing. Even though they've never had a police force, the fortress of the world's most dangerous drug lord was just across the forest from them. Colombia has had a significant rebirth in recent years, particularly in the area of tourism and hospitality. As a result, Escobar's legacy is being revised in the appropriate direction. As a result of his death, the Hacienda Nápoles was transferred into the possession of the Colombian government. There are proposals to convert the estate into a drug museum, theme park, and zoo, along with Escobar's collection of exotic animals that still roam free in the surrounding area of Puerto de Funo. Pablo Escobar was most likely one of the world's wealthiest criminals at the time. Pablo Escobar was regarded as a wealthy narco-terrorist, drug lord, and cocaine trafficker with an estimated net worth of over $30 billion. His criminal psyche was said to have developed during his adolescence. Escobar has already stated his desire to become a millionaire when he reaches the age of 22. According to accusations, he began by stealing gravestones and selling them to smugglers. Escobar's brother later rejected the charges. Following that, Escobar was involved in a few illicit actions alongside his associate Oscar Bernal Aguirre. Selling counterfeit cigarettes, stealing cars, selling bogus lottery tickets, and operating street scams are examples of such activities. You can see how he got to the top and became a drug lord, as well as the overpowering terror he instilled in many others. He appeared to run a vast and intricate drug trade with little effort and had no qualms about executing anyone who stood in his way. And with that being said, it's time to end our video. What's your take on Pablo Escobar's abandoned secret island mansion? Let us know in the comments. Like this video and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more amazing videos like this. We'll see you in the next video.